first, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
Hey, you get to see a little behind the scenes there because I didn't hit the loop button. Hi, everyone. This is Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Dibler. As always, appreciate everybody joining us. To remind you again, we are live streaming on our website, on our apps, and of course, on our social media channels. So lots of ways that you can engage and share the show and get involved with it. Right now, we are talking about something that's happening, well, tomorrow, but actually today even. I'm talking about the Portland Film Festival, which is a huge event taking place here. Multiple days, lots and lots of different films from all over the place that are going to be shown, and a lot happening surrounding this event. So we're going to be discussing what to expect this year and so much more. And we've got right here with us the executive director, Josh Leake, who's joining us to talk about this. And Josh, appreciate you being here and part of the show to go through this. You know, this is such a huge event for the film community and for Portland. And one thing I always like to do, just because I find it really interesting, is just learning about the history of the event itself. And I don't know if you could give us a little bit of the backstory on that.
Sure. I think I'm pretty typical. I love watching movies. I think, everyone is into watching movies. And as a kid, I always dreamed of making a movie. And my parents were great. They'd send me to the art museum to take some film courses and so forth. And I was really privileged. They even sent me down to LA once to do a workshop. Later in life, I live in Northeast Portland, and I noticed these guys rambling through my beverage can recycling bin. And I was like, what are those guys doing? So I went out and got a camera, and I ended up asking them if I could follow them. And I ended up making a documentary, which was called Empties. And I submitted it to a festival in New York that was supported by an actor by the name of Hugh Jackman. And I ended up winning the film festival and even sang on stage with him. He even talked to my mom. He's such an amazing person. And after that experience, I called up my film instructor here in Portland, a guy by the name of Jay Cornelius, and said, Jay, we should start a film festival like this in Portland. And that's how we did. We started the Portland Film Festival based off my experiences visiting film festivals in New York and London and so forth. There really never was a festival dedicated to filmmakers that didn't just play like horror films or documentaries. We kind of focus on playing all types of films because we feel that, you can like documentaries, you can like music videos, you can like films from Portland, and you don't have to have a festival that just focuses on one of those genres.
Right. I think that's great. Yeah. Showing all the different kinds of genres that are available.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it kind of blossomed from there. And, the second year we had our festival, we premiered a film for the West Coast in Oregon for a gentleman by the name of Jason Momoa. And now he's, international superstar Jason Momoa. So it's exciting to meet filmmakers when they're just starting out because you never know what's going to happen next. But it's not just famous names. Every year we play more films from Portland than I think any other festival. In fact, this year we've got a couple short blocks and a couple features that were directed by our neighbors. And it's cool to find out what's happening in the hood, what's going on in Portland.
Like you mentioned, having somebody like Jason Momoa before he becomes, superstar Jason Momoa showcase the film, which means you never know where somebody's going in their career or how that's going to happen. But you also talking about showcasing the local stuff, and I think that's a really important part of it. The Portland filmmaker scene and what's going on here. And I guess maybe you could tell us a little bit more about that. Like what is the state of the Portland filmmaking scene right now?
Well, as someone that's also producing, I would guess probably one of the largest films that will be made in Portland. I'm working on right now with a pretty well-known writer. You might have heard of him. He wrote a book that I, with a partner, have adapted, or that we're adapting into a movie. And Chuck Palahniuk, he wrote Fight Club. We're working on hopefully his next film to come to screen. And the film industry is so important to Portland and to Oregon. And if you look at the films that have filmed here, they've meant a lot of, financial there's a lot at stake. When someone goes to watch Reese Witherspoon in Wild, they also come to Oregon and they want to relive that experience of hiking. So, the film industry really gives us the opportunity to not only be a great marketing call, but also, a lot of the people that work in the film industry have such high and very lucrative careers. There's a lot of money to be made in the entertainment industry, and there's no better place to go than Portland and Oregon.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the Reese Witherspoon one. I mean, I can't imagine how many people showed up to walk the Pacific Crest Trail, to do that. Or you still see people going up to Bridge of the Gods, and that are obviously there because of what they saw, in the movie and reading the book. And you're right, it's a really powerful marketing tool in addition to a great form of entertainment and telling stories. And with that, I guess, talking about what Portland can do and what the Northwest can do and what it can bring to things, I think that's great that there's still some great productions going on, including, obviously we got a little bit of a teaser there with the Chuck Palahniuk production that's happening, which is great. Well, for you, I think talking about the Film Fest and bringing this, because you have a community from all over the world coming to this, but also showcasing the Portland side of things. How do you curate that? How do you decide who gets to be a part of or who gets their movie shown in the festival?
Well, the good news is, although I'd love to say I make all the decisions, I make very few decisions as far as the content goes and the films and the voices that are played. We have a team led by Joe Stevens, and he's been with the festival, I think, 8 years. And, we had a big volunteer event last night, and he talked about how this was probably one of the hardest decisions he's made, just because we had over 4,000 submissions this year.
Wow.
But one thing we've kind of done, which I think is really cool, is there's a lot of voices that kind of rise up. And there's topics that I think are really affecting Portland. For example, homelessness, or even the fentanyl and trank situation that we're all experiencing and seeing. Now, we're doing what we call a watch and learn, both on Saturday and Sunday. On Sunday, we're doing a watch and learn on the fentanyl and trank crisis. You get to see, I got to tell you, the film that we have is the most accurate depiction I have ever seen of a person, of a drug user. And a lot of people are scared of watching it. We had one film critic that said she refused to write about it because it was so intense. But I feel that to really talk about those type of things, we need to become familiar with what those things are. And instead of not talking or looking at it and watching it, I think it's a great opportunity that we've created to bring Portlanders in to watch a very difficult subject, but then afterwards to have a very nuanced and I think open discussion about what's happening in our community. And I don't think we should just wait a year to talk about these things. I think it's so important to bring these issues to the front. And that's one thing that the festival is really doing this year, is bringing some topics that I think have a lot of importance to people in Portland to the forefront. And who doesn't love going to the McMenamins Kennedy School and, getting a burger, getting some pizza, drinking some beer, watching some movies, and, having a discussion about things that are important to our community?
Absolutely. I mean, and films are some of the best way to do that too, to expose people to things that not everybody's going to understand, that especially that specific situation. A hardcore drug user, as you're saying, this is a depiction of that, something that's really happening a lot here in Portland, and it's affecting so many different things. But to have that direct exposure that you get through watching that film to understand it better and then have a discussion about it, I mean, it's a great way to bring that to people.
I agree. And, another thing we're doing, which I think is important, is we have another nonprofit from California that's bringing a film called How to Talk to Your Children about Homelessness. And, we all see it. And, I think having an opportunity for parents or anyone with a nephew or niece to come and learn and see what some people in the world are doing to talk to their children about homelessness, I think it's such a great opportunity. And you're right. film is such an important and great way to communicate. And it's like your TV show that you do, and it's so awesome to listen and watch on all the socials the different subject matters that you bring to light. So I mean, I think what the festival does is a little bit what you do every day. So thanks for having us.
Well, thank you for being here. I appreciate that. And that is something, there's so many different stories out there that need to be told, and so many things that honestly I'm completely unaware of, or I am very unknowledgeable in. And so that's part of it too. It's this, we can all learn together, learn about these things and share this stuff. Let's talk about the festival itself, because, I had said previously that it starts tomorrow, but that is not true. In fact, it starts today, I believe. And I know you've got an event that you wanted to tell us about.
Well, every year we have a different mascot, and this year is an Oregon gray wolf. And what do wolves do? Well, they howl. So today, actually, at 8 p.m., we have some like 300 people that have RSVP'd. We're all going to go on the north side of the Tillamook Bridge, and we're going to howl at the city of Portland. And I think it sounds a little bit weird, but Portland's weird, and it's kind of a fun thing. The first 100 people that show up are going to get a certificate for a limited edition t-shirt. But if you can't make it today, we have a couple events tomorrow. For example, we're opening the festival on the 12th with a brunch with a keynote speech from the producer of Portlandia, which is really the TV show that brought Portland on the map to everyone in the world. And David Kress will be speaking, and that starts at 11 tomorrow. But at 7 tomorrow, we're having a free public reception where you can come down, get an appetizer, have a drink, either non-alcoholic or alcoholic, and meet filmmakers, meet the industry. And we've even invited an artisanal t-shirt designer, and he's going to bring his t-shirt printing press, and he's going to hand out custom t-shirts to anyone that wants. Now, we have an environmental commitment at the Portland Film Festival. So we suggest if you have a t-shirt or a clothing product that you'd like him to print on, you can bring that, or you can get a free t-shirt or a tote from him to take on your own. So you can either bring your own or you can get one from us.
That's really cool. Custom t-shirt right on the spot. I mean, that's enticing just in itself right there. Well, and for the films this year too, I mean, we've talked about how it's really a mix of everything. We highlighted some of those, but let's just get kind of a bigger overall picture of it. How many films are showing throughout the run of the film festival?
Well, it's a good question. There's about 80 films that we're playing from pretty much all genres. One thing that's really interesting is that I believe 60% of the films that we're playing are from women directors, which is actually something to be pretty proud of, because if you look at the Hollywood system right now, about 8% of the films are directed by women, which is really crazy, because when you look at the history of film, women have always been at the forefront of storytelling and as directors. So we're excited about that. We're screening at 2 different locations. First off, we're taking over the theater at the McMenamins Kennedy School. Like I said, buy lots of pizza and beer. And then we're also taking over an icon of the city, which I am so happy. You've heard of the Go By Streetcar sign. We're taking over the streetcar space, and Umpqua Bank closed. So we're taking over a bank, and they left the vault, and we're screening movies there. It's the coolest thing in the world. So you can come both Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We're going to be screening films at the McMenamins Kennedy School and downtown in Northwest Portland. I'm excited. And for those of you that get a VIP pass, we have one of the coolest VIP lounges we've ever had.
Nice. And all that's going to be part of this for the weekend.
Yeah.
I know there was another thing. I've got some pictures. Of course, we have to show Jason Momoa there.
There he is at the McMenamins Kennedy School. There's Haley Joel Osment with the I Love PDX shirt and These are volunteers. You know, if you can't afford to come to the festival and you want to volunteer, you can do that. There's our future filmmakers. We did this 2 weeks ago. We made movies with them. That's going to be screening on Saturday at the McMinimans. I think one of the coolest things, thanks to Comcast, we were able to create a program we call Future Filmmakers, and we go to the Boys and Girls Club. And unlike some of the organizations that I went to as a kid that my parents paid for, we do all of our workshops for free. So a lot of these kids have never had a chance to pick up a camera, use a sound pole, and we make monster movies with them. So it's so cool. In fact, if you ever want to have some of those kids on TV, I'm sure they'd love to be interviewed and talk about making a movie.
That is great. Yeah. So something that to get them involved, at the young age and really to learn it and understand it. I mean, like you were showing here with these pictures, just, future filmmakers right there.
It's great. You never know. I mean, we could have some Oscar winners there. We could have some future presidents. Those kids are amazing. And the Boys and Girls Club, what they do for our community, I think is just outstanding. And, Comcast really did that. Another thing that Comcast is doing this year is if you have their internet service or you're on any of their streamers, you can simply grab their voice remote and say Portland Film Festival, and a selection of films will be displayed. But what's cool about that is it's not just the Portland market. It's everywhere in the nation. So those kids at the Boys and the Girls Club that made those future filmmaker films, you can actually watch them if you were in New York, if you were in Florida. And I think that's probably one of the coolest things I've ever heard of. And that was, such a fun project to work on.
Well, and bringing it out there to the world. Well, Josh, I want to say thank you very much, for spending some time here with us to talk about this. Two last things. One, I will say, yesterday, actually, I believe it was yesterday, we interviewed Derek Lemire, who's got a film that's showing there, Older Than the Crown. So he's going to be in there. So everybody can watch that interview as well, just talking about, the filmmakers that are a part of the Film Fest. And then for everybody out there who wants to go, what's the best place for them to go to find out information and where to go to everything?
Well, good question. First off, I'd say go to the Howl tonight at 8:00 on the Tillicum Bridge, and otherwise go to portlandfilm.org or on the McMinimans Kennedy School website. You can buy tickets there as well. We just appreciate you having us on and supporting independent voices. And thanks again.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Really, really appreciate it. See you later. And thanks to everybody, too, who's joining us, here for Fox 12 Now. As you mentioned, we get to talk to a lot of different voices here in the Northwest and beyond, and covering a lot of different topics. And coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to have another segment of Fox 12 Now where I'm going to be speaking to Portland local Bill Oakley. Bill Oakley, former executive producer, head writer of The Simpsons, and now food critic extraordinaire. If you follow his Instagram, that Bill Oakley. He's going to join. We're going to talk about everything under the sun, The Simpsons, food, a lot of stuff. So that's going to be here as part of Fox 12 Now. But another thing I want to bring up, coming up on Monday on Fox 12 Plus, this is a big announcement. If you're a Blazers fan, I'm just going to play this. I'm just going to let you know right now.
The NBA preseason wraps up for the Blazers as they head to Phoenix for a rematch against the Suns. Watch this Monday night beginning at 6:30. Tip-off at 7, only on Fox 12 Plus.
That's right. The Blazers are on Fox 12 Plus. That is huge. So you won't want to miss that coming up on Monday, starting at 6:30. So really, really cool. Lots of stuff to talk about. We're going to take a quick break so we can reset. We'll get everything set up for Bill. Be back in a few. I'm Greg Nebler. This is Fox 12 Now.
Thank you, sir.